Welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Vivian Ezadifi. This news can be watched on the various social media platforms displayed on your screen. Let's start with the headlines. President Bola Tinubu has advocated need for local currency to find its level and compete with the rest of the world currencies at World Economic Forum in Riyadh. Stakeholders unveil research work that provide roadmap for elimination of neglected tropical diseases. Plus, African Union expresses deep concern over alarming deterioration in humanitarian and security situation in North Darfur, Sudan. Let's now begin with the Nigerian president. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has advocated the need for local currency to find its level and compete with the rest of the world currencies. President Tinubu said this during his speech at the World Economic Forum in Riyadh on Sunday.
We have a very vibrant, youthful population interested in discoveries by themselves and highly ready for technology, good education, committed to growth. We were able to manage that and partition the economic drawback and the fallout of the subsidy removal. The capital formation that is necessary to drive the economy, like agriculture, food security, innovation, technology advancement, must be an inclusive program of the entire world. No one should be left behind. The fear of lack of capital in Africa, stigmatization, and I'm glad the world is recognizing the need that the type of population growth that Africa is experiencing, the diversity of its resources, must be married with its economic opportunity.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim criticized Western countries for what he claimed to be a complete abdication of responsibility regarding the issue of Gaza. The Malaysian Prime Minister said the issue's complete abdication of responsibility, particularly in countries in the West. He mentioned that his country has established strong engagement with the United States and Europe, while also maintaining excellent bilateral relations with China, South Korea, and Japan.
The issue of globalization, of interdependence. We adopt a very fierce foreign policy position to engage and depend on the support, collaboration, investments from the West, the United States, Europe, at the same time maintain excellent bilateral relations with China, Korea, Japan.
With the theme, Global Collaboration, Growth and Energy for Development, the two-day gathering brought together over 1,000 global leaders from 92 countries. Attendees include heads of states and government, thought leaders from both public and private sectors, as well as representatives from international organizations, academic institutions, and non-governmental organizations. A special mosquito factory in Rio de Janeiro has joined Brazil's fight with dengue fever, which has infected more than 3.9 million people this year, with a death toll of 1,888, a record high in the country's fatalities. Brazil is fighting the disease by biological means. through the release of mosquitoes infected with the Wolbachia bacteria into the environment to curb the viral spread of dengue, a mosquito-borne disease. Comfort Fashion reports.
In the mosquito factory set up by the Health Ministry, mosquitoes infected with the Wolbachia bacteria are bred artificially. This bacteria, found naturally in 60% of insects, have been discovered to have the ability to hinder the spread of dengue fever by interfering with the replication process of the dengue virus inside mosquitoes. The Rio mosquito factory can produce 500 million mosquitoes carrying the Wolbachia bacteria each year. And these mosquitoes are released into the environment where they compete with and eventually replace the dengue virus carrying mosquitoes through natural reproduction. Head of the World Mosquito Program in Brazil, Gabriel Silvestre, stressed that the Wolbachia bacteria-infected mosquito program is not a cure, but a preventive means to complement other mosquito control measures. He added that it does not solve the current epidemic, but if a city is at its peak of dengue fever, it is the optimal time to release Wolbachia-infected mosquitoes. And currently, Brazil plans to expand the release of Wolbachia-infected mosquitoes to cover 1/3 of its population within 10 years. And in Rio de Janeiro, popular freshwater fish known as guppies are being released into urban water bodies to consume mosquito larvae. These combined efforts, along with mosquito spraying, are expected to effectively control the spread of dengue. Comfort Fashion, NTA News.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said a plan to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda, signed into law on Thursday, is already acting as a deterrent. Similarly, Ireland's Deputy Premier Mike Martin claimed there had been a rise in migrants crossing the border between Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, and the Republic. Speaking to the media, Sunak said the new migrant law showed the plan was working, despite the fact that no flights carrying migrants have taken off yet. Sunak stated that if people come to UK illegally, but know that they will not be able to stay, they are much less likely to come.
Exactly what I'm saying. If people come to our country illegally but know that they won't be able to stay, they're much less likely to come.
The plan is aimed at deterring people from making the risky crossing of the English Channel to reach the United Kingdom. The number of people arriving in Britain on small boats soared to 45,774 in 2022 from just 299 4 years earlier. Many young Chadians are expressing the hope for political change through the current Prime Minister of the transition government's Success Masra, president of military-led Chad campaign in the southern opposition stronghold of Mondu for a May presidential election. He is widely expected to win after his main rivals were ousted from the race. Comfort Fashion completes the report.
General Muhammad Idris Deby Itno seized the presidency in a 2021 coup after the death of his father, Idris Deby Itno, who had ruled the Sahel country for more than 3 decades. He had promised to hand over power back to civilian governments within 18 months and told the African Union he will not stand for election as president. However, in March, he announced his candidacy for the presidency, and the same month authorities banned 10 opposition candidates from running.
Nous voulons d'abord une gouvernance transparente.
A student from University of Mondo, Severin Dingamad, expressed the view that they want transparent governance. They want things to be clear for everyone to see. The good of the people must first remain for the people. Adding that they have now selected their president, they have already elected him, and they expect nothing but the D-Day. The southern region that it knows is touring with a majority of Christian or animist communities have a history of vocal opposition despite government's repression. Comfort, Fashion, NTA News.
The chairperson of the Commission of the African Union, Musa Faki Mohammed, is monitoring with deep concern the reports of alarming deterioration in the humanitarian and security situation in El Fasher, North Darfur. The chairperson notes that the significant buildup of fighters and weapons in the vicinity of El Fasher poses a grave threat to the lives, property, and livelihood of millions in North Darfur and complicates an already difficult peacemaking process. The chairperson calls on the belligerents to immediately cease fighting. Returns to the local truce in El Fasher begin the implementation of the May 2023 Jeddah ceasefire agreement and unconditionally resume a new round of talks to achieve a lasting and comprehensive cessation of hostilities in line with the AU and IGAD roadmaps. Additionally, the chairperson unequivocally condemns external interference and reiterates the African Union demand for foreign countries to cease immediately the supply of weapons to the belligerents in clear violation of legally binding UN Security Council sanctions. In particular, the chairperson renews his call on all Sudanese actors to support the effort of the AU High-Level Panel on Sudan to convene a preparatory process for an all-inclusive Sudan political dialogue. Soon, the chairperson calls on the international community to align its effort with the joint initiatives of the AU, IGAD, UN, and League of Arab States to end the continued unwarranted and unjustified fightings and collaborate to put in place an inclusive, consensual, civilian-led political transition that will meet the aspirations of the Sudanese people for durable peace and stability through the restoration of constitutional order and democratic governance. Language is one of the vital parts of human connection. Though some species have their ways of communicating, humans are the only ones that have mastered cognitive language communication, which allows them to share ideas. On this note, Spanish nationals in Abuja celebrated their 2024 Spanish Language Day, organized by Cuban ambassador to Nigeria. Suleiman Abdulwahab reports.
Okay, in Spanish, my national anthem is Al combate corred, vaya meses, que la patria os contempla orgullosa.
The 21 Spanish-speaking countries like Cuba, Costa Rica, Argentina, Equatorial Guinea, Colombia, Panama, and others converge on Abuja to celebrate the Spanish Language Day, which, according to the Spanish ambassador to Nigeria, is a much cherished tradition in their culture.
Besides celebrating, is to make Nigeria and Nigerians aware that there is a language that is widely spoken in the world, language number 3 in the internet, the official language in the UN and in the African Union.
Because language is a major tool for sustaining and promoting culture. And the Spanish language is one of the major international languages. So it is good that the countries, Spanish-speaking countries in Nigeria are here to celebrate and draw our attention to the promotion of this language. We in the education sector will be happy to work with them.
It's the first time ever that 7 countries join hands to acknowledge what brings them, what unites them, what brings them together, and what we have in common.
The Minister of Art, Culture and Creative Economy, Anat Musa, says One cannot celebrate language and forget the culture, as the two go hand in hand.
Is for Nigerians to speak, more Nigerians to speak Spanish. And I will hope that my ministry will be able to work together with the Ministry of Education to see how we can do sort of a cultural expansion whereby we can introduce Spanish more into the curricula here so that we can communicate.
Nigeria es más grande, es muy bonitas, tienes muchas árboles y las personas son un poco bueno, pero un poco mal.
The event was first established by the United Nations Department of Public Information in 2010 to promote equal use of all 6 of its official working languages throughout the organization. In Abuja, Suleiman Abdul Wahab, NTA News.
We'll bring you more reports after this time. Many thanks for being with us. The Moroccan city of Tangiers, which has a long history as a haven of inspiration for American jazz musicians, is set to host UNESCO's International Jazz Day for the first time on Tuesday. Comfort Fashion has details.
Over the last century, jazz legends such as Randy Weston, Idris Suleiman and Max Roach all crossed the Atlantic to play and record music on the North African port city situated on the edge of the Strait of Gibraltar. Founder of the annual Tangier Jazz Festival, Philippe Laurin said the city has had a fascinating power of attraction on a wave of intellectuals and musicians. This year's Jazz Day will last 4 days, starting on Saturday, during which talks and open-air performances will be held in Tangiers. The festivities will culminate in an all-star global concert on Tuesday, led by jazz icon Herbie Hancock, also featuring bassist Marcus Miller and Richard Bowmer, as well as guitarist Romero Lubambo. The city's cosmopolitan artistic reputation stems from its location between Africa and Europe, as well as its history, having been administered by several colonial powers from 1923 to 1956, the year Morocco gained independence. This melting pot of influences, as a Moroccan historian Farid Bari opined, prompted visits from international writers and poets, notably from the Beats Generation movement, as well as African-American musicians seeking to find their African roots. Comfort, fashion, NTA News.
Findings of a research work that provide roadmap for the elimination of neglected tropical diseases from Nigeria have been presented to the public. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports that the research work was carried out in Taraba State.
Cerebral blindness is not a disease you just treat and it goes.
And it has caused a lot of havoc to families, to the economy.
Popularly referred to as disease of the poor, river blindness is one of the most common and neglected tropical diseases, with Nigeria bearing more than a quarter of global NTD cases. Taraba State is one of the highly endemic states. Concerned over the prevalence of NTDs, for more than 2 decades, the T.Y. Danjuma Foundation, in partnership with government and other private entities, have taken on the fight against NTDs. Just last year, an epidemiology survey as well as management of NTDs began in Taraba State. Here is the finding.
We have the evidence that the spread and the prevalence is going down, has gone down tremendously.
What we see in the research is that a lot of progress has been made but there's still room for improvement. So we'll work on those recommendations and hopefully, we make more progress over the years.
It's all over the country, doing many other things, school health, maternal and child health, and so on and so forth. So we are looking forward to be able to actually support other governments and other partners.
2030 is WHO's target, and this is part of Nigeria's commitment and effort to end neglected tropical diseases, starting from the most vulnerable communities. Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Another break beckons. Thanks for being there. The ingenuity young Nigerians have again been brought to the fore. This time, creative thinking was given a notch with the conversion of plastic waste to carbon building blocks. This was at the end of the one-year project on innovative solutions in Abuja. Deborah Bala Bobo tells us more.
It is a fact that plastic waste poses a threat to the environment, and these students from government sciences and technical colleges have found a way to converting this harmful waste to wealth. It is an outcome of more than 1 year project.
The Team 1 members have come up with a project of converting waste plastics into low carbon blocks using simple methods.
The innovation, experts say, is best for erosion control, low emission and absorption of carbon.
But because it's already used, so all the carbon has already been burned off. So for them to recycle it, you don't expect it to emit, rather it even absorb the carbon, and since it's good for erosion control, it does not degrade, and it does not, water does not penetrate through it.
I believe that is a stepping stone to some higher developments along this area.
The program organizers maintain has been an interesting one, especially with the involvement of children whose ideas have shown great hope for the future of the country. In Abuja, Deborah Balagbobo, NTA News.
The National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, has held its 2024 safety to draw attention to the need for adequate safety measures in the workplace, especially those dealing with environment and construction sectors. With the focus on exploring the impacts of climate change on occupational safety and health, NOSDRA officials took their awareness work around major roads in Abuja, which also serves as fitness work. This followed an earlier sensitization workshop for the staff of the agency on basic personnel attitude to enhance safety and health environment. Well, sorry for the loss of audio in the reports. Before we go, a quick look at Monday's weather forecasts in Nigeria.